Okay, cool. All right. So when you guys are ready, I'm going to start standing. So take your time getting into a standing position. Bring your feet about hip-width distance apart. And let's just start standing up nice and tall, pulling the belly in, lifting up through that pelvic floor, knitting those ribs tightly together and squeezing from the sides. We're going to inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. And exhale, breathing out, release the hands down. Inhale, flip the palms, reach the arms to the sky, and exhale, flip the palms down to the floor. Again, flip the palms as we inhale, reach up, and exhale. Now keep working here. I'm going to add on a progression of lifting those heels, coming onto those tippy toes. Release the heels at the same time the arms come down. Inhale, reaching the arms, lifting up at the same time those heels lift. Exhale, release the heels and the arms at the same time. Try to get that exact symmetrical movement so that when you lift the arms and the heels, they lift up at the same time and then release down at the same time. If you've done those jump board classes, remember that rolling through your feet, that heel ball toe lift and that toe ball heel lower. Let's go 2 more. Inhale, reaching up, filling those lungs completely. Exhale, squeeze and tighten through the core. 1 more time. Inhale, lift. Now, option to keep those heels lifted, you guys. You're going to take a little tippy toe squat. Push your hips back behind you. Reach your arms slightly forward, and then lift up all the way. And then again, bend the knees, push those hips back as you reach your arms forward. Inhale, lift up. Let's go 2 more. Inhale, rising up. Those heels are just an option. If it's too imbalanced, go ahead and lower those heels down. Now, when you're ready, find your chair pose and hold it here. If your heels are lifted, we're going to push one heel down and then up. Then the other heel down and up. If your heels are down, we go up and down. Up and down. So if you want that more challenging, keep those heels lifted. One heel down and lift up. Other heel down and lift up. Now when you're ready, I want you to keep your right heel down, left heel up. We're going to pulse the hips. How big you pulse is up to you. Maybe it's a nice big long pulse down and up, or maybe it's little pulses. So find what feels good. Keep that belly button in. Squeeze those ribs tight. And then let's switch. Left heel lowers, right heel lifts, and we pulse here. I'm pushing down into my right toes, really activating through that foot and leg. For 3, 2, and 1, and switch. I'm pushing my right heel down, left heel up. And then I'm gonna switch again. Left heel down, right heel up. And switch again. Right heel down, left heel up. And then switch, and switch, and switch. And we just add that bounce with that heel lifting and lowering. For 3, and 2. Last one. And then release. Find a halfway lift. Push your hips back behind you. Reach that crown of the head forward and really stretch through the spine. Now, I want your right hand forward and your left hand back. I'm going to push and switch. Left hand forward, right hand back. And push and switch. Reaching through those fingertips, keeping that belly button in. And feeling that back work a little bit. Keep your knees softly bent, or maybe even a deep bend, going into that squat once more. Making those legs really work here. Keep up with your breath. Keep up with that movement. Keep lengthening through the spine. Finding space between each vertebra. And 3. And 2. Last one. Now both hands back, and we're going to take a forward fold. Now option to keep your hands here, or if you want to interlace your hands and let your hands drop towards the floor. Feeling a really deep stretch on the shoulders, Releasing through the head. Whew. Find your breath. Let the belly drop onto the thighs, bending the knees a little bit more. One more breath here. And then slowly release the hands, shifting the body back up, and come to that standing position. Nicely done, you guys. We're gonna take a wide sumo squat. So I want the toes pointing out, the heels turning in, and we're gonna bend and then lift. Inhale, bend, knees reach out to the sides. Exhale, lifting up and tightening through those quads. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Squeeze into those glutes. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Strong legs. Let's go 3 more. Really pushing through those feet. Get the back side of those legs engaged. Now when you're ready, hold it down there. Hands can stay on your hips or reach up towards the skies. I'm going to shift my hips side to side. Getting a little release through those hips, those inner thighs. How wide your feet are open is up to you. Maybe it's even wider than that and you're taking a really deep position here, opening up through those hips, or maybe that's too much and you walk your foot in a little bit more. Remember, I can hardly see anyone, maybe 2 people at most. Awesome job, you guys. One more time on each side. And then lengthen your legs. Push your hips back. Take a wide-legged stretch forward. So legs are pretty wide here. Toes are still pointing out. And I'm going to use my hands on my thighs to push my hips a little bit more away from me, getting this release in that lower back. So really finding length in the spine. And then slowly releasing your hands. Now you don't have to do a forward fold here if you don't want. You could stay pretty high up. If you want to shimmy your legs a little bit wider, that's fine as well. I'm going to come a little bit more to the side. All right, so now left hand stays down. I'm going to bring my hand just to the side to start with. Taking a deep breath in. If this feels okay for me, I'm going to continue that rotation, reaching my right hand up to the sky. Take a deep breath in and try to push your hips a little bit further away from your head. And then exhale, release it down. Let's switch. Right hand to the center, left hand lifts up. As we breathe in, we try to lengthen the spine a little bit more. And then exhale, release it down. Bring your hands on your hips, bend your knees, and then lift yourself up. All right, now we're gonna do this internal rotation. So toes turning inward, knees turning in. You're gonna feel this kind of different alignment with the hips. Now remember, if internal rotation feels too weird or even painful, come out of it until you don't feel any pain, right? Okay, so I'm gonna start bending my knees. Just little kind of pulses down. Just kind of noticing how this feels in the body. Again, really awkward, almost like that duck feet, right? So again, don't have any pain in those hips. If you need to bring your feet more parallel, that's fine. If this internal rotation feels good, we're gonna get a little deeper, bending into it and then pushing out. And bend and push. Bend and push. Keep those feet really pressing down into the ground. Make sure that you're not gripping onto those toes. And then using those heels and those glutes to really lengthen those legs. Let's go 2 more. Last one. Hold it down there. Now I want you to pull the belly in. Bring your hands on your hips. We're going to do just a little pelvic tilt, pulling the belly in. Releasing that lower back down, tucking the tailbone underneath us. Release that tuck of the tailbone, pushing your butt back behind you, and then finding this little arch in the lower back. Again, exhale, pull the belly in, tuck the tail, and then release. And then again, exhale. And inhale, release. Let's go 2 more times. Exhale, pull the belly in, round, and inhale, release. My Alexa just talked to me. Okay, and then release. Release that. We're gonna come down onto the ground. Take your time getting there. Okay, cool. All right, so here, if you want to grab a pillow or a ball or something to protect your lower back, you can use that, or you can use your hands behind you. I did this same one yesterday, so I'm just gonna tilt my screen a little bit so I can see you guys a little better. There we go. And I've done this one with you guys before. All right. So we're gonna bring the hands back behind us, or you can use a ball to get that core more active. Or if you wanna bring your hands straight up, we're gonna get into that boat pose. So again, I can use my hands behind me, lift my legs up, or maybe even right away my hands lengthen out in front of me. So remember, you can always use your hands behind you if you're feeling tight through that lower back. All right. Now, we did movement on the other time yesterday. If you want to go into a bicycle kick here, you are more than welcome to build up a little bit more heat in your body. Otherwise, I'm gonna do an arm variation. So if you wanted to do that bicycle kick, you could lengthen one leg and lift the arms here, but try to keep everything stabilized. So today, I'm focusing on keeping my legs really stabilized here. I'm gonna inhale, reach my hands up to the sky, and exhale, reach my hands out in front of me. Again, inhale, reach the hands to the sky, and exhale. And I'm trying not to move anything in the body here. If holding that boat position is too much, remember, you can bring one hand behind you, maybe work there, and then switch, go to the other hand. Or maybe we're getting right into that. Let's go 3 more. Inhale, reach. Exhale, lower. And 2. Last one. Now lower the feet down. All right, we're gonna take a stretch forward. So I'm gonna get you into I'll start with straight spine, just to give you guys those modifications and variations. So I'm gonna start by lengthening my legs long. I'm gonna flex my feet back towards my face. Especially when I reach forward, I wanna focus on my feet flexing. All right, so I'm gonna find this really nice long line. And a couple options here, guys. If you're feeling really tight through the hip flexors, through those hips, you can grab a pillow and sit on your pillow. That will give you some support for your hips. Otherwise, try to let those sits bones really ground down into the earth. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. As I exhale, I'm gonna pull the belly in and hinge myself as far forward as I can. If I need to bend my knees here, that's gonna give me more length in my spine. And I exhale, come back up. All right, so again, I'm gonna reach forward, exhale, hold it here. I want you to breathe into the spine. And then exhale, lifting up. Now I'm gonna go with articulation. Remember, listen to your body. If articulation doesn't feel good, you wanna keep that hinge forward and hinge back, keeping the spine long. Otherwise, I'm going to tilt my chin towards my chest. Think of peeling my spine off an imaginary wall behind me. And then reaching my arms as far forward as I can, flexing my feet back towards my face. Take a deep breath into the back of the body. And then exhale, pulling the belly in, stacking the spine up against that imaginary wall. And inhale, lengthen up tall at the top. Exhale, reaching forward, flex those feet. Inhale into the back of the body. And exhale, pull the belly in and stack the spine up. Now keep working here and really stretch through the spine, keeping those hips anchored back behind you. One more time. Inhaling, lengthen long. Squeeze those glutes a little bit. Exhale. Reaching as far forward as you can go. Hold it here. Breathe in. And exhale, pull the belly in. Use the core to stack the spine up nice and tall. Lovely job, you guys. All right, now make sure you have enough room on your mat to lie down. You can start with your knees bent and walk your hands down, or if you want to take that roll down, I'm going to lengthen my legs long. Inhale, reach my hands out in front of me. As I exhale, pull the belly in, take it really slow, squeeze those glutes, use your hands if you need to, or otherwise use that core to slowly release down onto the ground. Whew. Take your time here. I'm gonna move my mic closer. There we go. All right, get yourself situated on the ground. I'm gonna start with those pelvic tilts. Pull the belly in, push the lower back down, and inhale, release the lower back from the mat, find that neutral spine. Exhale, pull the belly in, push the lower back down, and inhale, pull the lower back off of the mat and tilt the hips in the opposite direction. Inhale to neutral, exhale, press down to imprint. Now remember, this can be a very small movement, really micromanaging the body. If there's any pain in the lower back, you want to take it slow, more focused. Where can I breathe into to release tension? Now I'm gonna go in that circular motion. So I'm gonna push down to imprint. I'm gonna push my left side of my hip down into the mat. The right side lifts up slightly. And then I push my tailbone down, and then I reach over to the right. If you can, try to look at your knees and notice if the knees are moving here. Try to keep the knees really stabilized. Think of that belly dancer movement. And if you're like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what she's doing, I'm just moving my hips on the ground in a circular motion. So pretty simple movement, but really try to isolate those hips to get that really good work through the hips, that release. All right, now when you're ready, reverse directions, going in counterclockwise or whatever way you started, reverse that direction there. Try to relax the shoulders, relax the face and the forehead, and really tune into how you feel. I know, especially when we're not in class, we're on a computer, your head is going to be tilted towards one way. Try to take a moment to look at the video and then look straight back up towards the sky so we don't end up kinking our necks. I also have to be mindful of that too, right? All right, now when you're ready, I'm gonna keep an imprint. I'm gonna push that lower back down and really feel connection to my lower back and my mat. If you would like to work in neutral spine, you are more than welcome to. All right, pressing your palms down by the sides of your body. Feet are underneath your hips. Make sure your feet aren't too far from you. You might be able to touch your heels with your fingertips, but make sure your heels aren't like right next to your glutes. Okay, so now snuggling those shoulder blades underneath you, I'm going to push my hips up to the sky. I want you to hold it here, try to look up to the ceiling, relax the shoulders, relax the face. Use your core strength, knit those ribs down, and really squeeze into those glutes. Imagine a blueberry between your inner thighs that you're squeezing into. And then really lengthening through the quads and those hip flexors. Let's take one more breath in. And exhale, release it down. Take your time to sway those knees side to side. All right, guys. Now again, option to keep imprint or neutral. We're gonna go into chest lifts. I'm gonna keep my knees bent and my feet on the floor for this one, but if you wanna rise them straight up to tabletop, go right ahead and do so. All right, now I'm gonna exhale, lift head, neck, and chest, pull that belly button in, knit those ribs, and squeeze from the sides. Inhale, releasing head, neck, and chest down. Again, exhale, lifting up, inhale. Let's really get that breath going. Inhale, release, and breathe in deeply. Exhale, squeeze out all of that air. Inhale, breathe in through the ribs. Let's go 3 more. Think of squeezing your abdominals out like a wet towel. Now last one, holding that chest lift. Bring your hands behind your head if you need to. Otherwise, I'm going to lift one leg to tabletop, followed by the other one. I can keep my legs hip-width distance apart, or I can squeeze them together. Now I'm gonna send my right leg out long, hugging my left shin in towards my chest. And then exhale to switch, hold it to inhale, and exhale to switch. Hold it to inhale, exhale to switch. Hold it to inhale, And let's get a little bit faster if you'd like to, or you can keep going in that slower pace here. Again, feel free to bring your hands behind your head if you're getting tired through that neck. Keep that core strong though, guys. Pull that belly in. Knit those ribs and squeeze from the sides. Let's go for 3 and 2. Last 1. Pull both those knees in. Take a deep breath in and release head, neck, and chest. Holding it here, release the feet down. Let your neck or your head sway or rock side to side. Releasing that tension. Finding release through the sides of your neck. Letting your head get really heavy onto the mat. Take one more deep breath in. All right, guys, getting into a little bit more core. For this one, I do want those hands behind your head. Let your head hammock heavy in the hands, releasing the elbows out to the sides. Make sure those elbows don't start squeezing in. I want to see those elbows nice and broad here. Again, I'm going to lift your legs up to tabletop. I'm going to start by squeezing my legs together, reaching that left leg away. Left shoulder reaches to my right knee. And then we exhale, switch, hold it to inhale. Exhale, switch, hold it to inhale, just like we did on the other side. Keep that core strong. One more time, hold it to inhale, and then let's get a little bit faster. You can keep that slower rhythm going if you want to. Remember, try to keep the shoulders, the elbows really broad here. So I'm trying to lift a little bit higher to reach for my knee rather than that elbow. So shoulder to knee and switch. Shoulder to knee and switch. Let's go for 3 and 2. Last 1. And pull those knees in. Take your time to breathe. You can rock the legs side to side or release the feet down and let the knees side to side, sway side to side there, whatever feels best. Whew. Let the shoulders, the head, neck, and chest release. We're gonna go into some more bridging. All right, so for this set of bridges, I'm gonna bring my feet wide. So my toes are gonna be turning out, my heels are onto the mat, and my toes are off of the mat. If you need to come a little bit closer or a little bit wider, feel free to do so. Think of second position. Arms pressed down by the sides, and I'm going to lift my hips straight up into that bridge. Now feeling those outer glutes really turn on here, squeeze into those sits bones and feel that really nice openness through those hips. Now option to lift the arms up and over the head. Now I want you to release the hips down, and I'm gonna keep going with an arm motion. I'm gonna push my hips up and press my arms down, and then release the hips and lift my arms up and over the head. Again, exhale, press the hips up and the arms down. Inhale, release the hips and lift the arms over the head. Let's keep going here. Inhale, reach. Exhale, push. Inhale, reach. Notice if those hips are lifting straight up. Are both sides of your body working evenly and at the same time, or is one side working a little bit more or faster than the other side? Try to get that whole body to work in one symmetrical movement. Let's keep going for 3 and 2. Now last one, hold those hips up, press those arms down, our arms lift to the sky, and we pulse those hips. Get into that pulsing breath. Keep squeezing those glutes as you lift for 5, 4, 3, 2, hold it, little pulses of the knees, in and out. Not very far, keep it small, little motions. In and out the knees, feeling those outer thighs, inner thighs. This is getting into those hip flexors. Think of squeezing a ball and resisting. Let's go for 5, 4, 3. Keep those glutes tight And last one, hold it, breathe in, squeeze those glutes a little bit more. And then exhale, release those hips down. Let the knees drop to the right. I'm gonna go into a progression of crossing my right ankle over my left thigh. So over that left knee, and just letting my hips really open and release. If you have something else that feels better to stretch right now, you're more than welcome to do so. Take your time to breathe, let the shoulders relax. If you're with me on this leg cross, you can open the arms to a T and look to your left hand. Let's take 2 more deep breaths here. Let those shoulders soften a little bit more. And then uncross your legs, let the knees sway to the left, and then we cross that left ankle over the right quad. And then you can look to that right hand. Take your time to breathe here, letting the body truly relax into the ground, letting the forehead soften, the shoulders release. 1 more deep breath in. And then release. We're gonna come over and onto the side, and we're gonna do some sideline work, you guys. Probably some of my favorite stuff. All right, so I'm gonna start on my right side. I'm gonna give you guys options to change this up here. Now you can come all the way down onto the ground. You can use your hand for a pillow. If you have an actual pillow you would like to use, you're more than welcome to use your pillow or a ball or your bicep or your hand, or a more challenging position is lifting up into that sideline to get that underside working too. So I'm gonna go ahead and come here. You are more than welcome to lie down or however feels comfortable. Couple things to remind you of. Keep that waistline, especially that bottom side, pulling up and in. Think of that belly button lifting up into your rib cage. Knit your ribs down and squeeze from the sides. Try to keep your hips parallel with each other and your shoulders as well. Now, elbow, ideally right underneath your arm, if you're on your elbow, or maybe even just slightly out in front of you. Make sure that you're not collapsing on this bottom side, but you're lifting up, shoulders away from the ears. Now, I'm gonna bring my top hand onto my hip, and again, I'm on my right side with my left leg that's gonna be doing the work here. So if you're reversed from me or switched around from me, just remember that. All right, so left leg, that top leg comes out long. I'm gonna start by flexing my foot. Imagining that I'm pushing my foot into a wall. I'm gonna keep that core tight and let my foot drag forward. Now imagine doing this on the reformer with that leg in a strap. Don't let your leg lower or lift. Now I'm gonna point my toes and drag my foot back. And then again, flex and drag it forward, point, pull it back. Now my left hand is on my hip. Keep working here. I don't want those hips to be moving at all. If you are up in this upright position and you're getting tired, you can always feel free to lower down, find a more comfortable position. But keep that waistline lifting up, those hips stabilized. That bottom knee is bent underneath me. If I wanted a little bit more challenge, I could lengthen that leg long for that challenge there. For today, I'm gonna keep it bent. All right, let's go 2 more. Flex that foot forward and point, drag it back. Flexing that foot forward, point, drag it back. Now, I want to keep my leg long behind me. I'm going to reach my left hand, that top hand up, and I'm going to kind of tilt my upper body down towards the ground. Now, think of how we do this on that chair, on the, gosh, what's it called? The chair.
The X chair?
What is it?
The X chair?
No. Oh my gosh, I can't think. I want to call it the wounded chair. Sorry guys, that's another word for it. Anyways, I'm going to reach that left hand forward, that left foot back, and then I'm going to switch. Now my left foot sweeps forward and I'm going to open my chest to the sky. Take it nice and slow. This is stretching through the body. So if I go too far and it doesn't feel good, you can kind of minimize that movement. Or if it feels really good to find that length, reaching hand and foot away. Let's go 2 more. Inhale to open. And again, exhale, sweeping back and forward. Last one, inhale to open. And exhale, sweeping back and forward. Come back to center. I'm gonna end with clamshells. I can start by keeping my feet down, opening and closing there, or I can let those heels rise and do that high rise clamshell. So that's an option as well. So find what feels good. Notice if you're starting to collapse on that bottom side. I love this position of the arms because I'm getting a ton of arm and shoulder work, even when I'm just focusing on my legs here. And of course, getting that core work in too. I want to keep my spine nice and long from my tailbone to the crown of my head. All right, guys, let's go for 3 and 2. And then last one and release. Come all the way up to a sitting position. All right, I'm gonna do a sitting figure 4 here. If you wanna do a different variation of a figure 4, you're more than welcome to. This one's kind of fun, it's a little different variation. So it's kind of like a crisscross position. My right foot is down onto the ground, and then I'm gonna bring my left foot right on top of that right knee. Now, if this doesn't feel good, you can lean back and find that full figure 4 here. That's an option. This one's a little bit more challenging. It gets kind of deeper into those hips and is a really good sitting position if you are somebody that's working on sitting on the ground, something that I highly recommend. And it's just really good for your postural work, for your hips, opens up your hips and all like that. So I want to focus on flexing my feet. Even if I was totally in that figure 4 here, I'm going to flex that foot that's crossed over. So that left foot is what I'm really focusing on. Now you can take a hinge forward, keep that spine really nice and long. Pull that belly in, reaching the crown of the head forward, leaning over the thighs. And then release. Let's go to the other side. Legs go long. Now I'm gonna come onto my left side. Right side is on the top. Remember those progressions. You can start on the ground, or if you get tired here, remember to mirror what you did on the other side. So if you started here and then ended there, just remember when you started and when you stopped. Okay. So now my bottom knee is tucked in underneath me, my waistline is pulled up, and I'm bringing my shoulders away from my ears. Top hand on that top hip, and we lift that top leg up. We're gonna flex that foot forward, don't shift those hips, point and drag that foot back. And then again, flex, drag it forward, point and pull it back. Imagine a glass tabletop that you're letting your leg glide against or on. So you're not letting your leg come up any higher or down any lower. Keeping that core nice and strong. Those shoulders are really nice and structured. You have that foundation through your powerhouse. Squeezing that glute as you pull that leg back. Let's go for 3. Keep those hips nice and stabilized. Keep breathing. Last one here. Exhale, flex it back. Now hold that right leg back behind you. Reach that right arm up over your head, and then I slowly let my top shoulder drop down, and I keep reaching hand and foot away. Now I sweep that foot forward as I open my chest to the sky. And then exhale, switching. And inhale, open. Remember, this could be a really small movement or hardly any movement at all, or maybe it's really nice and exaggerated. So find what feels good. Always moving from your powerhouse, keeping that core strong. One more time. Inhale, open. And exhale, reach. And then come back to center. Let's go into those clamshells. Remember what you did last time. Low rise or high rise. We open and close. Open and close. Notice if your hips are kind of tilting backward or there's any movement in your pelvis. Trying to keep everything really nice and stabilized. Belly pulling in, that waistline keeps pulling in, those shoulders are relaxed away from the ears. Those ribs are softening towards each other. And you're thinking of maybe even squeezing a little ball between those thighs, keeping that energetic connection of those muscles. Feeling that glute, get nice and tight. And let's keep working. 5, keep breathing. 4, and 3, 2, and last one. Nicely done, you guys. Take your time coming to a seated position, and this time left foot underneath me, right foot places right onto that left knee. Remember, if this doesn't feel good or is too much, you can always lean back and just place that foot on the ground and come into that full figure 4. This one is a really deep hip opener. Try to keep that top foot flexed. Try to sit up really nice and tall, letting those sits bones ground. And then maybe we find that hinge forward over those thighs. Letting those hips get heavy into the mat. Finding your breath. Keep reaching your head away from those hips. One more breath in. And then slowly release up. All right. We're going to come down onto our bellies now. So take your time getting down onto the ground. We're going to come into a Sphinx pose to start with. So elbows underneath your shoulders. I'm going to reach my legs long away from me, reaching through my toes and placing the tops of my feet down onto the ground. Now, my palms are pressing firmly into the mat, and I'm trying to find this length from my tailbone to the crown of my head. I'm not dropping my belly and arching my back. I don't want to see any of that. I want to find structure through my core. So belly button pulls off of the mat, and I'm trying to squeeze like I have a corset wrapped around my waistline. So even though this is a pretty simple posture position, there's a lot going on with it, right? Now think of kind of pulling your hands in or pushing your hands into the mat and pulling your mat apart with your hands. So I'm getting this broadening effect of my shoulders. Now I'm going to go into a plank here. So I'm going to keep my forearms down. I'm going to curl my toes. Feel free to just lift those hips up if you want to stay on those knees. Otherwise, lift those knees up and find your plank position. Keep that idea of your palms pushing down into the ground and pulling that mat apart, really broadening through the shoulder blades. Whew. I am shaking here, you guys. Keep breathing. Now I'm going to add a progression. Feel free to add it or lose it. I'm going to bring one hand up, followed by the other one, coming into a full plank. Now slowly lower that elbow down, followed by the other elbow. And then I lift, lift, lower, lower, lift, lift, lower, lower. I'm going to keep working here. If you'd rather do a different progression, feel free to do so, you guys. It's your workout. Find what feels best. Keep that belly tight and work on that core strength with a whole body exercise. Now, one more time. Lift to plank. Slowly lower back down to the elbows. Slowly lower those hips down. Lower the chest down. Bring your hands underneath your forehead. Release your forehead onto your hands. And breathe. Whew. Let those shoulders relax. You can wiggle your hips side to side or breathe into your belly. Whew. Feeling your belly rise onto the mat, releasing tension through that lower back. All right, so I'm going to keep my hands underneath my forehead for this one, and I'm going to do a soft little lift. So I'm going to use my hands to kind of push into my forehead and lift my head, neck, and chest. My hands come off of the mat. I want to focus on my core staying tight, and then I'm going to exhale, release down. How high you lift is up to you. We inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Now remember, keep your core tight, and if you're feeling lower back tension, squeeze your glutes and think of tucking your tailbone, pushing your pubic bone down into the ground. Let's go 3 more. Inhale, rise. Maybe you can start getting a little bit higher. Exhale, release. Now, when you found a good position that you can hold it without having pain in that lower back, hold it here. Reach your arms out long, and then I'm gonna bend my elbows. I'm gonna try to lift just a little bit higher. And then exhale, release those arms forward, release the chest down just a little bit, but I'm still hovering. All right, exhale. Elbows come wide into this cactus position, this goalpost. And then release it down. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Sorry guys, I got that breath wrong. Inhale, rise. Elbows pull to the sides. Exhale, release. Reach those hands forward. Let's go 3 more. Inhale, rise. And 2. Now last one, hold it here. I'm gonna reach my hands even further back behind me, and I'm gonna do a little pump through my hands. Now I want you to think of doing a reverse hundreds here. I'm doing it this way because this gets our back really working from that forward flexion of sitting at the computer all day, or maybe even gardening, whatever you guys are doing right now. Now optional, heels reach together and I'm lifting my legs off of the ground. Keep that booty tight, pull that belly in. Keep reaching through your fingertips, maybe lift a little bit higher, and let's keep pumping for 5. Keep breathing, guys. That's what I want you to do. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Woo-wee. Take your time to breathe. You can bring your forehead down onto your hands, wiggle your hips. If you're feeling really tight through your lower back, bend your knees and do that windshield wiper of your legs, side to side. All right, let me see where I'm at. Oh, good timing, okay. So we're gonna go into a little bit of stretch. When you're ready, slowly come up into a seating position once more. All right, so we're gonna get into a little stretch here. Start by rolling those shoulders up to the ears, squeeze those shoulders back, let the shoulders drop heavy to the ground. Rolling the shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Take your time here, going slow, or maybe if you want to go get a little bit more movement in, you can get a little faster. Just find what feels good. 1 more circle this way, then reverse. Squeeze back, up, forward, and down. Really breathe in deep. 1 more. All right, bring your left hand to the right side of your head, just using it as a little weight. Don't actually pull on your head. Just let your head hang heavy to that left side. If this is too much, you don't have to do the hand. You can just let your head drop down. If it feels good, you can place that hand. Again, don't pull the head, just let it hang heavy. You can close the eyes and just breathe into that right side of the neck. A couple options here. I can bring my hand, that right hand onto my right shoulder, acting as like a little bit more lengthening tool here to lengthen this right side. Now with my chin, I could do a little rotation, looking down to the ground, and then inhale, looking up to the sky. Exhale, and inhale. Let's go 1 more time wherever you are. Exhale. And inhale. Come back to center. Let's go to the other side. Right hand comes onto the left side of my head. I'm just acting as a weight for that head to release down. Remember, just let it relax. Don't force anything. You can use that left hand on your left shoulder to kind of guide your shoulder away from your ear a little bit more. Focus on your deep breath. And then maybe we find that tilt of the chin down to the floor and that lift of the chin up to the sky. Exhale, chin to the floor. Inhale, look to the sky. 1 more time. and then come back to center. All right, so let's see how much time I've got. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna keep my left foot in and I'm gonna reach my right leg long. Again, if the hips are really tight, grab a pillow, push it underneath you, or even a blanket would work too. Now I'm gonna focus on flexing my right foot. I'm gonna start by bringing my right hand to the outside of my leg. Now maybe I just kind of reach my elbow down onto my thigh, onto my right thigh, and kind of work on that lengthening of my left hip and back. Or maybe I can reach that right hand to either my calf or my foot. Now I can hold it here if I'm feeling really tight, or I'm gonna give you an option to open, reaching that left hand over to the right side. Trying to open up through my collarbones, open that elbow towards the sky. And as I keep breathing, maybe I can keep getting a little bit deeper of a stretch. Maybe I can reach that left hand over to my foot, and maybe I take a flexion forward if that feels okay. Listen to your body. Take your time to breathe and stretch. One more breath here. And then if you started, or if you ended with that left hand on your foot, open the chest, come back the way that we came down. And then let's switch. Left foot extends out long. I flex that foot. I pull my right foot in. And then I start maybe just leaning that left elbow down onto my left thigh, opening up through this right side of my body, my back and my hip. Maybe I reach that left hand down to my calf, or maybe I reach it over to my foot. Now again, option to open the chest up, reaching that right hand up towards the sky, and then over to that left side. Really focus on your breath into the right side of the body. As you exhale, feel like you can get a little bit further and a little bit lower down to the ground. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. And then again, last option here to round over, looking down to the ground. Shoulders rotate down to the floor as well. One more breath in. And then coming back the way we came in, opening up through the chest, looking up to the sky. Awesome job. Now both legs lengthen long. I'm gonna flex both of those feet forward or up towards the sky. Try to spread your toes really wide, getting those outer thighs, maybe even those glutes to activate a little bit. Now, if you want, you can open your feet a little bit wider here. Maybe it's really wide, or maybe it's closer in. So find what feels good. I'm gonna go for a wider one today. All right, now I'm gonna start walking my hands. Now remember, listen to your back. If you need to keep a long spine, keep a long spine. Or maybe we start to round as we reach. Letting the chest relax down, feeling those hips and those thighs really open. If you have a wide stance with your legs, let your toes kind of turn outward. And then keep reaching as far as you can. Take one more breath into the back of the shoulders. And then start to crawl yourself back in. Lovely job, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Feel free to turn your mics back on. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns or anything like that. So.
That was great.